Sneak Peekers! I'm Anna.
And I'm Molly.
And we're back from our AFF weekend with some more carpets to show you.
But before we get to those, Emily has a review of Sofia Coppola's latest biopic, Priscilla.
Next, we'll hear about Lawman, Bass Reeves, a Paramount Plus miniseries based on the life of Bass Reeves, the first black deputy to serve west of the Mississippi River.
Then we'll switch gears from true stories to superheroes, with Gavin here to give us a summary of Amazon Prime's Invincible, a mature and refreshing take on the superhero genre.
And we'll wrap up our show with 2 AFF carpets, one of which Molly here was there. You want to tell us about it?
Sure. I spoke with UT's very own Andrew Shea and Cindy McCreary about their film, I'll Be There.
But Molly wasn't the only one there at the carpets. Mauricio spoke with the creators of Bike Riders.
Stick around to see these carpets and more of this on the episode of Sneak Peek.
We'll be right back. Before we begin tonight's show, we'd like to acknowledge the incredible career and legacy of Matthew Perry, who died on October 28th at the age of 54.
Perry was best known for his role as Chandler Bing on Friends, one of the most popular and successful sitcoms of all time. He will be missed by friends, family, and friends across the world.
In addition to his acting career, Perry was an open advocate against drug abuse after struggling with it for many decades. After becoming sober at the age of 43, Perry converted his former Malibu mansion into a men's sober care facility and devoted himself to helping other victims of drug abuse. In other news, as of today, the SAG-AFTRA Guild representing American film and television actors has been on strike for 117 days, and unfortunately, negotiations with the AMPTP have yet to hit another snag.
The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, or the AMPTP, delivered what they called their best and final deal to SAG leadership last week.
After working on negotiations throughout the weekend, representatives from SAG-AFTRA stated on Monday that they did not accept the offer.
According to the statement released by SAG-AFTRA, the Guild has pushed back against a proposed clause allowing Schedule F performers or Guild members who earn more than minimum compensation to be paid for the unrestricted use of their digitally scanned likeness.
While the AMPTP offered to pay actors for the process of digital scanning, SAG-AFTRA continues to fight for 2 other clauses that would provide a compensation for the images of reuse as well as consent from the performers.
Over the weekend, SAG-AFTRA leadership submitted a counteroffer to the studio executives, and negotiating representatives assured Guild members that they would be updated with further developments.
We'll keep you updated on the further developments as they happen.
Until then, Emily is here with the newest review of the film by Sofia Coppola, Priscilla.
Take it away, Emily.
The exciting opportunity to experience Sofia Coppola's much-anticipated film, Priscilla. The biopic draws inspiration from Priscilla Presley's 1985 memoir, Elvis and Me, which details scenes from her initial encounter with Elvis Presley along with their marriage, relationship, divorce, and her lasting feelings about their relationship after his death. The narrative begins with young Priscilla Beaulieu, played by Kaylee Spaney, as she is approached by a man who invites her to attend a party to meet Elvis Presley. The enigmatic Elvis, brought to life by Jacob Elordi, takes an immediate interest in shy Priscilla. While they talk, Elvis asks her about pop music back in the States, to which she responds with names like Bobby Darin, Fabian, and lastly, his name. Kaylee Spaney delivers a truly remarkable performance. The costume and makeup perfectly capture Priscilla's image, and Spaney's acting flawlessly recreates her beauty, strength, and spirit. Spaney's portrayal of girlhood shines in moments where she's falling for Elvis and his world, even when he is controlling her. Like the book, the movie illustrates how Elvis influences her perception of how a woman should be, look, and act by influencing her wardrobe and overall appearance. His emotional, oftentimes violent outbursts were followed by a coup of sorries and I love yous that are confusing and hurtful. I was truly surprised with how well Jacob Elordi's portrayal of Elvis was within this movie. While Austin Butler's depiction of Elvis in Baz Luhrmann's film played an outlandish and extravagant, glamorous role, Elordi's rendition is a behind-closed-doors type with a more reserved, dark characterization, which allows for the movie to focus on the relationship between Elvis and young Priscilla. Beyond these incredible performances, I couldn't help but yearn to possess even a fraction of Coppola's exceptional talent. She stands out as one of the few directors I genuinely admire for her ability to craft beautiful visuals and a poignant, compelling message. While there is little dialogue in the movie, it shows themes of self-discovery, teenage angst, and love. Coppola understands how to navigate the challenges of recreating the lives of iconic women like Priscilla and Marie Antoinette, effortlessly capturing the essence of their experiences. The biopic is a fresh take on Priscilla's story, allowing the audiences to see her side, not just his. Even someone who is a stranger to Priscilla's story can understand her feelings in each scene. A careful selection of scenes from Priscilla's book was made by Coppola and the writers, which emphasizes the complexity of the experiences Priscilla had as a young girl while shedding light on the neglected and complex realities surrounding iconic figures like Elvis Presley. Much like the book, the movie does a phenomenal job of showing us Elvis through Priscilla's eyes as their relationship evolves. However, I did see how the movie might assume that viewers already have an understanding of both Priscilla and Elvis, offering little cues into actual emotions that Priscilla expressed in her book. Nevertheless, I believe Spaney's performance effectively conveys these complexities. Though it may seem like a series of moments strung together for the viewer, each was chosen to deepen our understanding of their relationship. This film doesn't necessarily vilify Elvis, but it does show us his imperfections that die-hard fans overlook. Lisa Marie, Priscilla and Elvis's daughter, strongly criticized Coppola's script before her passing, describing it as vengeful and contemptuous in its portrayal of Elvis. The Elvis estate prohibited Coppola from using his music in the film. Yikes. While other portrayals of Elvis have largely glossed over their relationship, this film provides more nuance, giving more depth to the couple. Spaney's acting brought Priscilla Presley to tears during the premiere at the Venice Film Festival, with Priscilla commending Spaney for her outstanding performance. This movie is a must-see, whether you're familiar with Priscilla and the King of Rock and Roll or not. The performances and sheer beauty of the film make it an experience you will not want to miss. Let us know what you think and share your thoughts on Coppola's latest masterpiece, Priscilla, with us at Sneak Peek TSTV.
You know, Anna, every time a new biopic releases, I want to hate it. Like, how many more of these movies do we need?
Really? Did you hate Priscilla?
No, I thought it was great. I wanted to dislike it, but Priscilla's story had me hooked, and I don't even care about Elvis.
Me either. Well, if you like Priscilla, maybe another story that you'll like will be this one.
Are you trying to get me to watch another biopic?
Not quite. Here's Nolan's sit-down interview with the creators of a mini-series based on a true story, Lawman, Bass Reeves.
Hey Sneak Peekers, this is Nolan Wally, and I'm with the creative team behind Lawman Bass Reeves. And would you guys want to introduce yourselves real quick?
I'm Chad Fian. I'm a creator and showrunner.
I'm Christina Voros. I'm a producer, director, and cinematographer.
And I'm Damian Marcano, director.
One of the big questions I think that has to be asked is when you guys are sort of adapting Bass Reeves, what drew you to that story?
Growing up in Texas, I heard stories about Bass as a child. They were always akin to the gunslinging lawman pursuing the most hardened criminals in the Wild West, and those stories sort of took root in my consciousness. Then, in March of 2022, David Oyelowo invited me to dinner, explained to me where the myth of the man both converged with and separated from reality, explained to me some of the things that I didn't know about Bass. But more than anything, I was taken with the triumph of the human spirit, which his life so brilliantly captures. And so after that dinner with David Oyelowo, I decided I had to be a part of it, no matter how big or small my role was.
We have a lot of film majors who end up watching this at Sneak Peek, and one thing we like to know is basically what the production process is like. Is there any part of it that you found the most difficult, or just something that you felt like it was an accomplishment to get done?
All of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's, Christina made reference to this earlier with respect to David. There were mornings where, a brilliant actor, brilliant talent, beautiful human being. But there were mornings where I thought, today's the day David's gonna lose it, right? Like, he's one thing in the first scene up in the morning. He's doing episode 6 stuff in the second thing up for the day. And then at the end of the day, he's like going back to when he was like enslaved or something. They were just days that I was really thankful, I would say, to have him. But on top of it all, it was just that atmosphere. I think when you look at this at the end, to be very proud of everything we've done, because I said I wanted to mention those days being like that, because at times I don't think, and Christina can tell you, you're getting scenes done. You're getting scene 1 through 5 done, or you're getting 7 and 12 done of episode 4, and you have no clue if it's all coming together. And in the last week or so, we've all been able to watch her 2 brilliant first episodes. And just to see them come together, the emotional response that I even have as a person who's worked on this, like I've seen it, I saw all her dailies, I saw all that, but I didn't see it all together.
We have one last question. You guys obviously wouldn't know this, but I was actually a production assistant on this show. I was filming this, or I was helping, obviously, around May 31st or so.
Okay.
And this was one of the best opportunities I got. This was sort of my first time on a professional set. It was a great opportunity. Do you have any advice to anybody watching this on what opportunities they should be looking for?
I'd say be humble and kind,
Yeah.
because to your point, I've seen people who were PAs who I then worked with as a producer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And being a PA is one of the hardest jobs on set. And you take a lot of flack, and you work the longest hours, and you get paid the least, and you get the least amount of respect and ask for the least amount of input. So understandably, people don't want to stay a PA any longer than they have to get to the next step. But we all start somewhere, and you don't know if it's not be nice because that person could be your boss someday. It's be nice because this job is hard.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're a huge movie star or big executive producer, or if you're running craft services. Like, if we don't take care of each other, no one else is going to. And all of our work is hard. And so I think if you don't go into set every day without, it doesn't matter where your name falls on the call sheet, you have to treat everyone with the same level of respect and understanding for the amount of effort they're putting into the work. And if you don't do that, I promise you, it's not just about being a good person. It will come back to you, because people remember that sort of thing. And you will have a long, happy career as long as you take care of people the way you want yourself to be taken care of.
So, Molly, what'd you think? Still tired of the true story adaptations?
I guess not. Bass Reeves is a great subject to shed some light on, being a potential inspiration for an iconic Western character, the Lone Ranger. I'm looking forward to seeing what the showrunners will do with his story.
I'm glad to hear that. And you know what? How about we take a break from biopics and check out some of the superhero action as a little treat?
Count me in.
Gavin's here to tell us about the animated series Invincible, which just returned with the second season on November 3rd.
Let's hear what Gavin has to say.
What's going on, Sneak Peekers? I'm Gavin, and unfortunately I have some bad news. Any superhero fans listening, you're about to enter into a long, dry spell. Gen V just finished its first season, Loki Season 2 is almost over, and both The Marvels and Aquaman 2 are rumored to be letdowns. You might be thinking to yourself, what is there for me to watch with this hiatus incoming? Luckily for you, Invincible Season 2 has just started. For anyone unfamiliar with the show, Invincible is an Amazon Prime original series that adapts the comics of the same name by Image Comics. The comics were created by Robert Kirkman, most famous for his original series, The Walking Dead. The show follows the life of Mark Grayson, played by Stephen Yeun, a half-alien high schooler who deals with the changes that occur in his life after he gains his father's superpowers. If you think you may have heard of this show before, you probably would recognize Nolan Grayson, aka Omni-Man, voiced by J.K. Simmons. He recently found his way into Mortal Kombat, became the subject of several memes, and is a large reason for why the show is so loved. Side characters making the show isn't a new phenomenon for Prime Originals. Another superhero show you've probably heard of, The Boys, has a popular fan base revolving around its central villain, Homelander. Ironically, both of these shows are executively produced by famous comedian Seth Rogen, and he's appeared in both shows as well. Seth and Prime Video have been working together to turn semi-popular third-party comic titles into television hits, rivaling Marvel and DC by taking chances with new styles of storytelling. This doesn't always work for them, however, and 2016's The Tick can attest to this. But luckily for Prime, Season 1 of Invincible got raving reviews, with fans loving the animation style appearing as it became straight from Issue 1, and general audiences loving the star-studded voice acting. It's now been 2 years since the first season, and the first episode shows a larger production budget and an incredible villain for our protagonist to battle. I won't spoil anything, but if you're not familiar with the comics, you're going to be in for some big surprises. If you are caught up on Season 1 and ready to continue, make sure to watch the short film Adam Eve that came out this summer ahead of your viewing of Season 2. While it's not integral to the main story, it gives a lot of insight into one of the most important side characters in the story and features some of the best fight scenes in the franchise. If you do end up watching the first episode of Season 2 tonight, make sure to add us at Sneak Peek TV on Instagram or Twitter.
At this Austin Film Festival, we were so happy to see so many works from UT alums and current students on the schedule.
One of those was the feature-length film I'll Be There by UT faculty Andrew Shea and Cindy McCreary. I'll Be There follows Grace as she confronts the cancer diagnosis of her now estranged older brother, AJ. The pair face past family scars and fears of mortality, all while coming to terms with the death of an icon from their childhood, Michael Jackson.
McCreary and Shea work together with students and staff throughout the film. Molly got a chance to talk to them about their film on opening night of AFF.
Let's roll the clip. Hey sneak peekers, I'm Molly Capel on the carpet of the AFF premiere of I'll Be There. So first off, since you guys are both film professors at UT, what is the biggest advice that you give students trying to work their way into the industry?
Be persistent, show up on time or be early, and try to learn from failure and mistakes, because we all make them and there's no success without failure. I think Bob Dylan said that.
Yeah, I think so.
What's your advice?
I'd say don't give up.
Your films have been described as introducing characters to a new set of 3 R's, ruin, revenge, and redemption. How do these play a role in I'll Be There?
So I would say this film is a departure from some of the darker themes and some of the intensity of some of my earlier fiction work. This is a much more, this is very raw and real, but it's a more uplifting film.
And also, so I know that you've spoken to students about how when you're writing a screenplay, you really focus on the character going from a want to a need.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, just again, kind of similar question, how this plays a role in I'll Be There.
It's really the whole arc of the whole story. It's what she really needed to learn and let go of over the course of the movie. And so I hope I achieve that, since I'm telling my students to do that.
Seeing as the film details the importance of childhood heroes, who would you guys consider to be your childhood heroes?
Wow.
Gilda Radner is my childhood hero.
When I was a child, Abraham Lincoln was my childhood hero.
Gilda Radner and Abraham.
I don't know what to tell you.
You know, I feel like I would have to say my dad.
Who would you guys consider to be your childhood hero?
I mean, I'd say that my parents are pretty spectacular. They're both ICU nurses, and they save people every day. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool for me to know that.
I'm going to say that too, my parents. How do you prepare for a role, both for I'll Be There or also just in general?
For myself, I wait until the check is cleared, and then I
start thinking about it. Yeah. He goes to set, picks up his lines 10 minutes before being on set, and he's just talented and knows how.
It is not true.
That's how.
Depending on what the role is, I usually I can draw a little bit of something from everywhere, and it might not be my own personal experiences, but it could be somebody in my family or life experiences or whatever. But I definitely draw from that.
The same, like imagination. I have a daughter now, and so a lot of what I do is actually, I feel like the anchoring of an emotional scene comes from something that we love, right?
Yeah.
And if you're able to just translate whatever that love is, because I think ultimately characters do what they do because they love something, right? And even if you're doing something bad, you justify it because you think it's the right thing to do at that point in time. And so the justification just comes from owning it and just being in it. And it takes a while to find that. I think it's a found thing, but it's not a. Once you get that, I think it then makes it much quicker. And then I use things like music, or like a song or something like that. Go UT!
Yeah, thank you so
What's
much.
the name of the football team?
The Longhorns.
Go the Longhorns!
Yeah. Next up, for the camera right here. Oh, you did? Oh, that's awesome.
Thanks, Molly.
No problem. It was a pleasure to talk with passionate filmmakers from our university.
We have one more AFF carpet here to round us out for our shows. Here's Mauricio's on the carpet of Bike Riders for the story of a Midwestern motorcycle club united by good times, rumbling bikes, and respect for their strong leader.
Take it away, Mauricio.
Hi, Sneak Peekers. My name is Mauricio, and we're out here at Austin Film Festival 2023, and today we're going to check out Bike Riders. Let's get right into it. First things first, in a previous interview, you mentioned wherever you pointed the camera, there was an amazing actor doing something amazing. So I want to know, what was your favorite scene to shoot?
There are a bunch of them in this film, but I think probably the scene that most surprised me was a scene between Austin Butler and Tom Hardy. It's a scene, it's in the trailer where Tom's character is offering Austin's character the club. And, you know, it's just two people talking. But when you have actors like Tom and Austin, they elevated it. They just turned it into something, honestly, kind of intense, kind of sexual. You'll have to see the film to really understand what I'm talking about. But when you do see the film, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
This film is about a subculture that you weren't alive for when it existed. So what made you want to tell a story about this subculture specifically?
I mean, really, it was Danny Lyon's book. It reads like honestly like a recipe for how to depict a subculture. It not only shows it in photos, but it actually tries to understand it through these interviews. You start to understand why these people think the way they think, why they live the way they live, and it was really kind of an undeniable feeling that I got about this really specific period in time that now is gone forever, and that's kind of what the film is about.
And this is your first time back in the director's chair since 2016 for a feature film. So what was it like coming back? Was there any rust or more nerves than usual? What was it like?
Honestly, I was just so ready to make this film. You know, I got to be really honest with you. No, there was no rust. It was like no time had passed whatsoever. But that's partly because I work with the same family of people over and over again. So that was a big part of it. It was like a big family reunion. And then when you have a cast like this, it's just it makes my job really easy.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And is there anything you haven't gotten a chance to say about this film, or you would like to reiterate?
Well, I don't know. I just hope people come see it. Every film has its own kind of trajectory, its own life, and this feels like a film people are going to enjoy. And so I just want as many people as possible to buy a movie ticket and go see it in the theater, because these motorcycles, they'll rumble you out of your seat.
Awesome. And as UT film students, we're always looking for advice, and I want to be more specific with this one. What do you think in your opinion is the most important quality a student director writer should have?
You just got to write, and you just got to keep writing. Everything I have is because of my writing. I'm a writer first and a director second. And so if you want any control over your career, if you want control, over your storytelling and your art form, write. And the good news is anybody can write. Some people are certainly better than others, but the harder you work at it, the better you'll get.
Thank you so much for your time.
Good luck, guys.
Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you want to keep up with our Austin Film Festival coverage. And also check out this video right here.